So first we're going to Hari Priya, who's done so much. Thank you, Didi, for all your kirtan. You've done so much kirtan in the last year. Thank you. And I feel that enthusiasm from you as well. By the way, the enthusiasm you have for this, it connects with me and makes me enthusiastic for my seva. So your enthusiasm, like electricity, makes me have more enthusiasm. So it's subtle, but it's very powerful. It's like a transmission. So Didi met the devotees in 1981. And she joined the temple in New Zealand in 1983. And then met Srila Gurudev in 1999 and took Harinam and Diksha the next year in the year 2000. She has performed a lot of seva. She's been an ashram teacher. I imagine you're a lovely teacher. Deity worship, painter, very, very, very capable painter. And university program she's done. She's been in the art team in Gaudiya, and that must have been with Shamarani, right? And Manjari. There's a whole group of ladies doing the artwork for Govardhan temple. That must have been a wonderful experience. And also you've done some artwork for Gurudev's book. So that's a little introduction to our dear Hari Priya. Over to you, Didi. It's now 8:30, 9:30 New Zealand time. Please take it away until 10 o'clock your time.
My husband and I are both going to talk together.
Like
so
great.
Yeah, like the other two devotees last week. So
oh, great! I love that. So you have until.
Going to give it a go anyway. So
give it a go, and yeah. No, that's great. It's always great fun watching husbands and wives see if they can pull it off. You know,
it's going to be difficult.
we want to see what we want to see is afterwards. Once it's done, we want to see the off record kind of back and forth.
So if you could introduce my husband.
Yeah. So okay, so because you're doing it at the same time. Okay, no problem. Okay.
Thanks.
So yeah, no problem. So it's going to be a joint representation. So Sriman Vanamali Prabhu, he met the devotees way back in 1973. So Prabhupada still had 4 years left on the planet. He moved into the temple in Melbourne, Australia in 79, and met Gurudev with his wife in presumably with Hari Priya in 99. And obviously no coincidence that he also got Harinam addiction in the year 2000. And Prabhu has done a lot of seva during the years, book distribution, university programs, deity worship, and editing Gurudev's books. So beautiful. I'm really looking forward to this, guys. Over to you. It's 8:30, so 9:30 there. So 10:30 New Zealand time. You've got a whole hour to share your hearts with us. Hari Bol.
So, thank you. We'd just like to all glories to Srila Gurudev, all glories to the Bhakti Seva Zoom team.
Yes.
It's wonderful. It's a wonderful service that you're doing. It's been marvelous, and we really appreciate what you've done for us, helping us in our devotional life all around the world. So thank you very much, everyone involved in that. So I want me to start. Yeah. So we first saw Gurudev. Gurudev used to come to Krishna Balaram Mandir in Vrindavan for Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day. So it was our first encounter with Srila Gurudev in 91, and in 93 was especially memorable because at that time Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj were there also for Prabhupada's disappearance, and it was quite remarkable. We have our
Bhakti. Welcome. Don't worry. I love beautiful.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Tulsi Das. So it was quite a profound time actually, and in retrospect, it's quite amazing because the Puri Maharajas both arrived and they were greeted by the devotees there in the temple, and then Gurudev arrived, and it was just such a profound difference. And I've thought about this over the years, and really, this was Gurudev sowing the seed of what is spontaneous devotion, what is spontaneous love compared to what is devotion just done out of a sense of duty. Because the other devotees had greeted the Puri Maharajas, but it was kind of like, it was very stiff and formal. And it was kind of like the difference. They were like, well, this is something that we know we have to do, that we have been told that we have to act this way with the Vaishnavas, greet the Vaishnavas in this way. This is what we've read. This is what we have heard, like this. But with Gurudeva, it was something completely different. It was something completely spontaneous. And you could see the love and affection that was there within Gurudeva's heart. That Gurudeva was serving them very, very beautifully. And his attitude and his mood towards them was very, very, very wonderful and very spontaneous, and so much full of affection that it had a profound effect. And as many things that occur in our relationship with Guru and the Vaishnavas, we don't really appreciate them at the time, but later on we can actually develop more appreciation for that moment in time, that moment that we had that association. And for me, that was very profound, because Gurudeva was sowing the seed of spontaneous, of what is affectionate love for the Vaishnavas within my heart. And this is the first time I'd seen that. I was fortunate enough to have the association of Srila Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj in 1981 in Vrindavan out at Radha Kund, and we spent some time with him, and we chanted some rounds with him, which was very amazing. And there I could see this spontaneous attraction for Harinam. I could see he had this spontaneous attraction for Nam, and he was in so much ecstasy just chanting Harinam. And here Gurudev was showing the spontaneous, very wonderful moment. And for me, it was definitely like Gurudev was sowing that seed within the heart of this is devotional association. And it opened up a whole realm for me that actually there is a whole family, there was a whole Vaishnava family outside of the institution, that we're a part of at that time. So it was a very enlightening moment, even though I didn't fully appreciate it at that time. So then in 99, when we had the opportunity to see Gurudev came to Melbourne. And we had the opportunity to go down there. We were living north of Sydney at the time, and see Gurudev. So we took that opportunity, grabbed a hold of that opportunity with both hands, because we could understand this is a great Vaishnava. This is Mahabhagavat. And Gurudev was speaking on the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It was Lord Nityananda's appearance day. So just the depth of what he was saying, and he was revealing to us the mood of Prabhupada's mood in his purports that Prabhupada had written about Nityananda Prabhu, about Akhanda Guru Tattva, the nature of gurus, the nature of Vaishnava, the nature of the relationship between disciple and guru. And it was very wonderful. It was like he was nurturing us. He was helping us. He could see the traumas that we had been through, and he was helping us in our devotional life. So it was it was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, I remember, because we were quite reserved about getting caught up in the hype like we used to be, and so we're very standing back a bit and actually getting involved. But we thought we'd come down and just check him out. And I remember sitting in class and hearing about Lord Nityananda, and it must have been about a 2-hour class, and different devotees were getting up to speak. And I'd never been so interested in hearing Harikatha before, because I wasn't hearing Harikatha before. And I found myself sitting on edge, just listening to classes and thinking, wow, this is really amazing. And previously in classes that I'd been in, I'd had to have something to do so I wouldn't fall asleep. But so I didn't have to have anything to sidetrack me, just to keep awake, because it was amazing. It was things I'd never heard before. And we got to have 2 darshans with Gurudev. The first one that Vrindavan Vilasini had been talking to me quite a lot before a darshan, and speaking to me about Gurudev. And she was really great, because she took us into the first darshan with devotees, and she introduced us, and Gurudeva was really kind to us. We didn't have much of a conversation then, did we?
Yeah.
But he said, he asked who our guru was, and we said, and he said, oh, very nice. And that was about it. But by the end of the 3-4 days that we'd been there and hearing classes, and actually one thing that really touched my heart was Nandanastakam.
Yeah.
I remember they were singing that when Gurudeva was going out, and I know they were singing it during the class, and I was reading the English, and I thought, wow, it was just touched my heart. The bhajan, it was just so beautiful. Never heard anything like it before, and it was just so sweet.
Mm.
But the next time we had a darshan, which was probably a couple of days before Gurudeva left Melbourne, we went, and I know personally for myself, you can say for yourself, because I don't, yeah. We're sitting sort of not to the back, but, you know, few people away from Gurudeva, and we're sitting with Vrindavan Vilasini as usual, because she's always pushing us. It's really her knack. And I was thinking, oh gosh, you know, and then she introduced us again, and I said, for some reason, I don't know how it happened, but spontaneously out of my mouth, which I wasn't conscious of, I just said, please, can you help me? And I didn't know where it came from. Who knows who said it? I don't know who said it. And then Gurudeva said, yes, I will help you. He says, how would you like to be my darling daughter? And I said, yes. And then you said something at the sideline, didn't you?
Yeah, I can't.
And I thought you said, me too.
Oh, yeah. I didn't want to be his darling daughter, but I wanted to be his darling something.
Yeah, so of course, and, you know, everyone was thinking, oh, they're going to get initiated. We'd have devotees coming up to us saying, oh, you're going to get initiated? No, why would we want to get initiated? You know, we're fine. Shiksha's fine. But during the year, though, before Gurudeva, before we saw Gurudeva again, I did write a few letters to him. The first letter, one devotee took it over to Gurudeva, and it was a handwritten one, and I got it back. Actually, I'll get it out. It's handwritten, and I'm really not sure if Gurudeva wrote it or not. It looks like his writing, because it looks the same as his signature. Because I wrote to him and expressed my heart to him, saying, you know, I really didn't trust him. I've been cheated, and I really don't have anything else to give because my heart's already broken. And in those sort of words, and he says, my heartly blessings for you. I received your letter and became so happy. I wanted to take your pure and sweet heart in full and making it more pure and sweet. I want to offer it to the lotus feet of Radha Krishna conjugal. But I know that I know that from your past experience, you're fearing because so-called gurus have cheated you. So I want that you should realize the behavior and mercy of pure Vaishnavas and Guru. So I want to help you in all respects without any self-interest. You should read my books, hear my cassettes, in those days, and it will help you so much. I think in future, again, take opportunity to associate with us and realize what is divine love and devotion. Your ever well wisher, Swami Narayan. That was my first letter.
Yeah, Gurudeva, in one of the darshans, Gurudeva said, speaking about one of the previous gurus that we'd had contact with, he said he took your heart and he tasted it for himself. He said, but real guru will never do this. Real guru will take your heart and he will offer it to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna conjugal, like this. And this was Gurudeva's mood, and we just had this this realization, because we've been looking. We understood the heart of Prabhupada. Prabhupada said the Manobhishtam of Mahaprabhu was there. It was being fulfilled by Srila Prabhupada. He understood the heart's desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, And he was fulfilling that heart's desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was giving this pure bhakti during his manifest time here. And been looking for that, because I never went to the temple before Prabhupada left, but I was reading Prabhupada's books, following the principles, chanting Hare Krishna and doing all these different things, and had this attachment for Srila Prabhupada. And I'd been looking for that. I've been looking for Prabhupada for so many years. And when we came to Gurudeva, it's like, oh, this is where Prabhupada is. Prabhupada is residing in the heart of Gurudeva. This is the nature of Akhanda Guru Tattva. That this great relationship of love that's passed down through the Guru and Parampara, here it is. We've found it at last. It was so refreshing, and it was, Gurudeva was so kind, and he offered so much affection and so much love that it was just overwhelming. It was amazing, eh?
Right, and that also reminds me of another letter that I got from Gurudeva during that year before we actually took initiation. I'd sent him a poem that I'd written for Srila Prabhupada for one of his appearances or disappearance, and he said, I love your poem very much. And he says, I feel that Swamiji has sent you to me. And I realized that was a fact, because like when we weren't with Gurudeva and we were in the other Sangha, I felt really sheltered by Srila Prabhupada after our Guru fell down. Yes, and I took shelter of Prabhupada saying his mantras when paying pranams, and got to dress Srila Prabhupada 3 times a day, the big murti in the temple. And I was always praying to Srila Prabhupada. And so I felt like when we met Gurudev, I felt like I was still holding Prabhupada's hand, and he was passing me over to Gurudev to hold his hand. But I still feel I'm connected with both of them, because Srila Gurudev, actually, he's opened our eyes to how special Srila Prabhupada is. And yeah, so he already said that I feel that Swamiji has sent you to me, and it's a true fact. You know, it was the mercy of the pure devotee to guide us, because when I was in the temple before meeting Gurudev, I was so stressed with service I was doing. It was so not getting any help, and just feeling quite dry in my spiritual life, that I was praying to the deities and I was crying, you know, please help me. I just can't handle this anymore. And anyway, you did the same, didn't you?
Yeah, we were frustrated, because you come to a certain point in your devotional life and you want more. And this is getting back to this initial sort of understanding of what Gurudeva was giving, that we wanted to internalize our devotional life. We'd been performing devotional service externally for so many years, you know, doing all the external sadhana and all this sort of thing, but we wanted to internalize our devotional life, and we didn't know how to do that. And then when we met Gurudeva, then we realized how this is achievable only through the mercy of the Guru, only through association of the Vaishnava. Can you actually internalize your devotional life? Because internal devotional service is a matter of the heart, and that comes from the heart of the Guru. This heart-to-heart relationship between the disciple and the Guru. This is what establishes that internal aspect of devotional life within the heart, and this is what Gurudev gave us. This, it's magical. It's mystical. It's transcendental. It's
transcendental.
Yeah. It's trying to put into words something that happens, something that is beyond the sort of the realm of material understanding. It's beyond the realm of intelligence. It's on a deeper heart level, and this is what Gurudev gave, which we were hankering for it. The heart is always hankering for love. The heart is always hankering for this spiritual relationship. And we were frustrated because we couldn't couldn't touch that. We couldn't have access to that. And then Gurudev came, and just by his association, he gave us access to that. He opened that door, and he gave us so much mercy. It was wonderful. Yeah. One time when I was with Gurudev, and because you should reveal your mind to the spiritual master. The spiritual master knows everything. He knows everything that's going on inside our heart. He knows all about maturities. He knows everything that is going on. But still, he said one should reveal one's mind to the spiritual master. So I was thinking like this one time when I was with Gurudev, and I thought, so I started to say to Gurudev, I've had such bad karma. I've had, been through so many different things in material life and in spiritual life, this, and Gurudev just put his arm around me and just hugged me, and he said, don't worry, now you are here with me and everything is all right.
So sweet.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah. So in 2000, Gurudev was in Murwillumbah, and we had both thought, we'll just take formal shiksha with Gurudev, and we'd stopped chanting our Gayatri mantras. So we thought, you said, let's get our Gayatri from Srila Gurudev, and that'll sort of get us back on the road again. But Gurudev's really tricky. You got to watch him. We went in and had a darshan with Gurudev, and Shamarani Didi was in there at the same time. And you explained to him that, how
we've been chanting this for 20 years and haven't really experienced anything, and we want to experience what is the mantra, what is the this relationship with Krishna through the mantra.
Yeah, so he said, well, you know what that means. Why don't you get the Gayatri mantra off your guru? And then we didn't answer, and Shamarani said, because they don't have any faith in him. And bang, the light bulb went off. Of course that's the reason. Yeah. Who else can give it to us? It's so here we were here saying, well, you know what that means, don't you? You'll have to give me something. And we thought, dakshin, money, He said, I want your heart. He said the bogus gurus, they take your heart and they put it in their pocket and use it for themselves. But I will take it, and you won't get it back because I'm going to offer it to Radha and Krishna. So we thought, what is going on here?
Take it.
And when we went out, we thought, okay, so next day we had to come and see him to get our mantras and that. And when we went out, we were walking with Shamarani, and she said, we thought, oh God, what's happened? We thought we'd, we're just getting we want to get the Gayatri mantras, but we didn't want to make an offense to our previous guru. And she said, well, it's just like kindergarten. Now you come to the real high school and you've got the real guru. So you have no offense if someone's not on that platform. So, so she's pretty straightforward. And okay. So we were waiting around, and through the day, we didn't tell anybody what was going on. And I felt really, now, the word grave I'd never experienced before, but that was the first time I knew what grave was, because this is a serious matter, taking initiation from pure devotee and think, whew, geez, my life's going to change forever. Thank goodness. But, because before, when you took initiation and it's gone, you just sort of like, okay, we get a spiritual name, yay, we chant Hare Krishna, and all go back to Godhead. But didn't really get much training, not in the heart training. So here we were. Gurudev, Gurudev's tricked us. Good on him. Thank goodness for that. We might have mucked around too long otherwise. But that was really beautiful.
Yeah, it was really nice. And I'd written to Gurudev in '99 because after we met Gurudev the first time, and I'd asked him about chanting, about what to meditate upon while chanting, what to think of like this, because I knew he was qualified to give instruction in this matter, And Gurudev wrote back to me, and he explained the importance of bona fide guru, and how mantra has to be accepted from a bona fide guru, from a proper source. Otherwise, it doesn't have any effect, and that one can chant, the mantra, but if it's not given from a proper source, then it doesn't have the proper, because as Prabhupada said, it's like you have to be connected to the power source. If you're not connected to the power source, then you're not getting the actual potency of the mantra. The mantra is infused. It's infused with this prem ras, this braj ras that's given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and passed down throughout his super succession. And if we're not connected to that to super succession, then we're not getting the full potency of that mantra as it's passed down. So Gurudeva explained that to me like that, And I'll read a little bit from what he said in his letter. It was quite funny, really, because I'd asked, how to meditate, what to meditate upon when chanting Hare Krishna, meditate upon Krishna's pastimes. How to meditate upon Krishna's pastimes? I was asking this question. So Gurudev said, he said so many beautiful things in this letter. By chanting the holy names with love and affection, remembering how merciful and kind is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, our Gurudev, our whole Guru Varga, how by their mercy you are able to hear, understand something, and remember the beautiful pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna and their associates. By this process, you will develop a desire to serve Guru, Vaishnavas, and Krishna. As this desire develops more and more, everything will be revealed to you as you go on practicing, hearing, and chanting within the association of bona fide Vaishnavas. How to chant and what to meditate and think, it will be revealed to you within your heart. Like a small girl tells her mother, "Oh, Mammy, I want that you should wake me up when I'm going to yield a baby. I'm so worried that I will sleep when the baby is due to be born." The mother laughs and tells her that at the time of delivering a baby, you will naturally realize everything. No need to worry whether you will sleep at that time. Our ultimate goal is to develop pure love and affection for Sri Radha and Krishna. So he goes on, but that was very beautiful. It just made me realize what my position was, that very immature in my devotional life, and perform your sadhan bhajan under my direction, and everything will be revealed. No need to worry. He says that at the end of that. Do not worry. Just keep on performing your sadhan bhajan under my direction, and everything will be fine. Everything will be achieved. So it's very, very enheartening to have. So obviously we come to the conclusion that we want to take initiation from Gurudev. And Gurudev said, yes, no offense is there. You're not committing any offense to the person who previously you thought was giving you initiation, because that person wasn't qualified from the start. So it wasn't really a problem.
No.
It was fine.
So after Mulwillumbah, after we got initiated, he came down to our little town called Paxton, and this is when we were living in Australia, and there's only 5 couples there, and then you get this whole crowd of all the Mulwillumbah devotees, and there's devotees from overseas and India, and just flowed into our little country town. And it's amazing that Gurudeva is so merciful to come to such a small place. It's amazing. I don't know how that man happened.
He came there twice, and to get there you have to fly into a regional airport and then drive for 2 hours by car to get to where we are, and then it was another 2.5 hour drive from where we were down to Sydney. So he was just so merciful. This was Gurudev's service attitude towards us. He was so, and then he would thank us. Gurudev would arrive and he would see so many devotees from all over Australia and all over the world, and he would thank everyone for coming to see him. It was like he was genuinely, grateful that they were coming to see him. It was like, wow, it was such a humble personality. It's so amazing.
And we invited him to our house, and the funny thing was that we had a 2-story house. It was quite big, nothing flash, but it was good. And we had a whole lot of women staying at our house. It was about 25 women. They were parked some of them were in the gardens and their tents, and you know, of course, he moved out. Not why. And we had Shamarani and Vrindavan Vilasini and a whole lot of other devotees, and they all camped out in our rooms and stuff on the floor, etc. And anyway, Gurudev, you invited him to our place, and so he came and he saw there were so many lady devotees there, and anyway, he said, oh, what is this place? And
first of all, he surprised everybody.
No, that was the second time.
Oh, that was the second time.
That was the second time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was the second time.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And anyway, he Shamar said, oh, it's the woman's ashram. He said, no, this is Radha Kund. And anyway, you tell them about the fish and the.
Oh yeah. Because he came and we had a big fish tank, and the fish tank was there when we purchased the house, so we sort of just left it. We had some fish in there, you know, and previously there had been one prominent Pujari in ISKCON who had come to Sydney one time on Radhastami, and he'd procured a goldfish in a plastic bag to show Radharani like this, because Radharani likes fish, you know. she likes goldfish, you know. So Gurudev came to our house and he saw the fish and said, oh, he said, this is not good. He said, fish are lusty, you know, they have a lusty sort of mentality, a lusty thing. So me being, you know, not the most intelligent person in the room, I said, oh, Gurudev, but doesn't Radharani like fish? And Gurudev looked at me like, what? Another crazy Aussie. So I was explaining to him, no, Gurudev, you know, Radharani likes to see fish, look at fish, and Gurudev just sort of said, where is this in Shastra? You know, this is not that I know of, Gurudev, and if it's not in Shastra, it's not real. And I also mentioned to him, because there was a philosophy that was existing at the time, that I may not be pure devotee, but because I am serving pure devotee, I'm as good as a pure devotee. So So I mentioned this to Gurudev. Gurudev just said, oh, where is this in Shastra? Where is this in Shastra? Gurudev, automatically, everything was just, is there a Shastric basis for this? Where is the evidence? Where is the praman for this? You make some statement, but you have to have some Shastric evidence for these statements, you know. It is not, you just, you know, make something up and think that this is now a philosophy. And Gurudev was always very, you know, very just cut everything. He was sadhu. He was a real sadhu. Just immediately just cut. Okay, this isn't Shastra. So that was quite good. And then of course there was the lizard.
Yeah.
We had a carved lizard that was also in the house when we arrived, and Gurudev said, no, you should put this lizard outside.
Yeah.
Envious lizard.
Lizard. It was a lizard made out of timber, out of wood. It was, yeah,
Lizard.
Just an ornament.
Yeah, it was, it was a big carved.
That size.
Yeah.
No connections and stuff.
So that was, and it was good because we had the opportunity this. So I was going to bathe Gurudev's feet. We had the bowl there, and we had everything was arranged for bathing Gurudev's feet. So then Gurudev swung his feet out, and he had socks on. And so I was kind of taken aback. I wasn't expecting to see socks on Gurudev's feet. So I was kind of like, I just stopped. I just was sort of like, just froze for a minute, you know. I was kind of thinking, oh, what do I do? What do I do? And I kind of just sat there and froze for a minute. And Gurudev just turned to Maharaja and said, never say Brahm. Where is the service attitude? Never say Brahm, you know. You're just sitting there in awe and reverence, but you have to get beyond that. You have to get to the service. So immediately, as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, okay. So I took off Gurudev, stopped and bathed his feet like this.
Yeah, so we're both fortunate to be able to speak.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. It was really
nice.
It was really nice. So
yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah. So after that, you got something else?
There's so many different things that we have. I mean, Gurudev was Gurudev was giving class in one devotee's house, and it was quite a large house, and there was a big sort of concrete ramp going up to the veranda, and it was quite wide. So when Gurudev arrived, he would walk up the veranda, and we were all just lined up this ramp and under the veranda to greet Gurudev when he came. So Gurudev was coming, everyone was chanting, and it was all very ecstatic. And Gurudev was giving these beautiful classes on Rupa Goswami and what it means to be a Rupanuga. So it was very, very wonderful and very high katha that he was speaking at that time. It was just a wonderful experience. So Gurudev was walking up this ramp, and I was standing there. Next to me was one young girl. She's probably about 5, 6, something like this, and she was looking a bit forlorn. And Gurudev was walking up the ramp, and as Gurudev walked up the ramp, he saw this young girl, and Gurudev stopped, and he came over to her, and he sort of just leant down, and he said, "Are you all right?" And she was like, "Oh, yes." And he was asking, "What is your name?" And she was telling, "Your parents here?" Yes, my mum and dad are here. And Gurudev said, "Do you have anyone to play with?" And the girl said, "No, but I've got some friends coming tomorrow." So Gurudev was happy. So he put his hand on his head. Then he continued on, And I was amazed. This is how Gurudev couldn't, if he saw someone was unhappy, he couldn't, just keep on going. He had to stop, even for someone who, most devotees would think was just insignificant. Gurudev would never considered anyone insignificant. He had total respect for everybody. So just because he saw this one young girl wasn't happy, he had to stop. He couldn't just keep on walking. He had to stop and actually make sure that she was happy, make sure that she was all right before he continued on to give class. And that was just so wonderful. That was his whole mood. It was just so wonderful and so respectful and so personable. It was just amazing, And during that time, I was camping out the back in the backyard of the place where Gurudev was giving class. It was quite cold in the mornings. It was kind of it's cold in inland in Australia in the mornings. And Gurudev was concerned. He said, "Oh, it's so cold." I said, "Yeah, it's pretty cold." He said, "Are you all right? Are you okay? You all right sleeping out there?" And I was like, really amazed, I was like, I didn't even know how Gurudev knew I was sleeping out there, let alone he was concerned for my well-being, whether I was, cold or not out there. It was just so amazing to see someone like that. He wasn't just our guru. He was our best friend. He was like our father. He was everything to us. It was, he created this mood of love, which was just incredible, eh?
Yeah. So during after that, for me anyway, Shamarani was encouraged. She when was it? I was writing to Gurudev, and I was feeling I want to do some service for him. So I said to Gurudev, I'd like to do some service. What can I do for you? And he said, "Oh, you can help with publications." Now, that didn't mean anything to me because I can't even spell, let alone edit. And so, okay, so I asked again. He said, "Oh, go and see Shamarani." And I said to her, "Gurudev wants me to, excuse me, to help with publications." And she said the same thing. "Oh, you can't edit, can you?" You know how she is. And I said, "No." He said, "Oh, I don't know." Anyway, I decided in 2021, they were holding there were going to be an art conference. It was all organized and everything. But then it was the Twin Towers.
2001.
Yeah. And it was only 4 days. So I had my flights organized and everything. And 4 days before, the Twin Towers went down. So I thought, "Oh, this isn't going to stop me. I'm going anyway." So, and then when I got there, everything had fallen through. Nothing had been arranged, and it was quite scary. my first time traveling to India by myself, but somehow or another it all got organized. And so we had this teacher from a Mathura art school. He also gave some help with Shamarani's work, and he was trying to get us into the mood of Indian drawing. So he would give us some pictures of his art to copy. Now, I was having a heck of a job trying to copy these things. And normally I could copy things very easily, but I was having so much trouble, it actually made me cry because I just wanted to please Gurudeva and to be able to do something for him. So anyway, we still hadn't seen Gurudeva because he hadn't arrived in Mathura. So it was only about a week later, and I was still struggling with these drawings. And so then we got to go and have darshan with Gurudeva, and I had all this whole bag of different dried fruits and jars of honey and ginger, crystallized ginger, which he used to love at the time. And so, finally get up to Gurudeva in his room in Mathura, and I'd handed over each single thing. He made me give each thing individually. And so, and I said, this is this. And he said, oh, yes. And then he'd put it down by him and take everything back. And then I gave him this honey, and took it, each individual one, out of my hand. And then I got to one thing. I said, and he said, and he was copying me because he's quite a joker. And so then he was handing, after he had given it all to him, he was handing it to me, and I'm left-handed. So I was grabbing it with, he's handing it into my hand and was putting it away, and his hand touched my hand. Now, I didn't think anything of it at the time, but the next day when I was doing the art, I was able to do the art without any trouble. It was like Gurudev had zapped me with the ability to do these drawings. It was like a magic. So that was really, really special, and I never forget that, because I just felt like I was waiting for Gurudev's mercy to actually be able to have this ability to do art for him. So so I brought all that art home with me. But then that goes into when Gurudev came in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
But he came to our place again, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
But that time, do you want to tell him about the surprise?
Oh, okay. Well, I happened to just be in the house for some reason. I don't know why, because I wasn't staying there at the time, because it was just the ladies' ashram. And the phone rang, and it was Brajanath, and I invited Gurudev to come. And he said, yeah, I'll come sometime. And then Brajanath said, Gurudev wants to come now. I said, now? He said, yes, he wants to come to your house now. And I said, all right. He said, but don't tell anybody. He doesn't want anyone to know.
Because we heard that actually he likes to surprise people and just turn up and make them, put them on the spot.
Yeah. So he was like, okay, don't tell anybody, Gurudev. You can just come down and pick up Gurudev and come up straight away, but don't tell anybody. So I was kind of like, okay. And then Priya was there, and she was watching, and she was looking to look at my face.
Oh, you told me. Oh, you told me Gurudev's coming. Don't tell anybody, because you'd wronged me.
I was there. I was there.
Oh, okay. For some reason.
Yeah. Anyway, Harry Priya sort of saw what's going on. So I told Harry Priya, well, Gurudev's coming, and he's coming now, but he doesn't want anyone to know. So I drove off to pick up Gurudev, and then you. But
at the time, one of the devotees was just going to have a shower, and I said to them, it was Vrindavan Balasini, and I said, don't go because Gurudev's coming. Don't tell anybody. So didn't want you to get caught. So anyway, so she was helping me get some things together in the kitchen for bathing Gurudev's feet. And but then Chandramukhi and Ragaleka, they sort of cottoned on what we were doing. So they took off outside and started picking flowers to make a garland. And but no one else knew about it. Even Shamarani didn't tell Shamarani. And yeah, so then.
Yeah, well, I was down to pick up Gurudev, and I've told this story before, how I just had the little Lada, which is a Russian vehicle.
Two-door
vehicle, which is quite small. But so I went down, Gurudev was staying at a place about maybe 4 or 5 kilometers away. So I drove down there to pick up Gurudev, and we had the little ladder. And Gurudev comes out and he jumps in the front seat, and then Madhav Maharaj and Brajanath come out, and then Prabhu was with them at the time. So Prabhu is quite a robust sort of a fellow, you know. He's quite a large sort of a fellow, and it's just a small car. So Gurudev got in the front, and I was opening the back seat, and Brajanath Prabhu got in, and then Madhav Maharaj got in, and then Prabhu was trying to get into the car, and Gurudev was in the front seat, and Prabhu was trying to squish himself in there. It was just like almost impossible for him to get in there, and Madhav Maharaj and Brajanath are being squashed right up against the other side of the car, and Prabhu was pushing and pushing, and they're all laughing like children, you know. And then Gurudev started laughing, and Prabhu was just really adamant that he was going to get in. Gurudev stood there and said, "You can't come." And Prabhu said, "Why?" He said, Gurudev said, "Because you're too fat." And everyone was laughing so much that poor old Prabhu just about fell out of the car. He was half in and half out. He was laughing so much he just about fell out. Anyway, he managed to squish himself in there, and we took off. We drove up there, and managed to get him in. We got up. It was just such a jovial mood. Gurudev was such an amazing personality, and we got up there, and of course, when we arrived at our house, there were lady devotees running around everywhere.
Only the ones that they knew.
Gurudev said, "Oh," and I said, "Oh, Gurudev, this is the ladies' ashram." He said, "No," he said, "This is Radha Kund." He saw, because we had, you know, nice archways with flowering plants, and it was really, really beautiful. And he came inside. Then we had a swimming pool as well. So later he went for a walk and saw the swimming pool and said, "Yes, definitely this is Radha Kund." But yeah, that was really sweet. It was really, and because he'd been there 2 years previously, and I mean, as soon as he walked in, he said, "Oh, you've changed this, and you've done this, and you've done that, and you've changed the furniture around." I'm thinking, really? How do you remember all these things? You know, it's like, how we moved that chair over there and that chair over there, and Gurudev just immediately just remembered everything.
And he loved our lavender.
Yeah.
Oh, he just loved lavender. Not the flowers, but the green of the
leaves.
And he'd always hold it under his nose. It was like something from another world. He just loved it.
Yeah. We used to take it to him in India, and from our house, we'd wrap it up in wet newspaper and take it over there for him. And, "Oh, this is from your garden."
Yeah, he loved it.
So nice.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah. So that's when, for some reason, I don't know what inspired you, but, you know, I had the drawings, which were, you know, pretty basic from the when I was in India doing copying those drawings, and he made me show Gurudev.
Yeah, well, you have to.
I didn't want to because they weren't very good. But then he was looking at each one of them and asking what it was, and there was one there that there was Radha and Krishna getting married, and it had a fire in front, and he said, "No fire, otherwise real marriage." And so it was very interesting because it was from an Indian perspective of, you know, Radha and Krishna. But then after he'd seen them, he said to me, "I want you to paint for Ujjwal and Nilamani." And I thought, don't know what that is. Anyway, after Gurudev had left, Shamarani said to me, "Do you know what that book is?" And I said, "No idea. I can't even pronounce it." And she said, "That's a really high book." And so she said, after that, she said, "Well, you're going to have to, you know, travel with me to, you know, so I can train you, and read something of Gurudev's and see what inspires you, and you can paint something." So yeah, I just read something, and I found that was a nice story about how Radharani stole Krishna's flute. And so I did that. And when I went to India the next time, I had the drawing done, and as usual, Vrindavan Vilasini was pushing me forward, "Show Gurudev, show Gurudev." Anyway, so I was standing at Gurudev and I show him, and I had my head down because I was so shy. And the next thing I saw his shoulders going like this. I thought, what's going on? And he was chuckling. You know, he was laughing at it because he thought it was really hilarious. And he said, I said, is it okay to paint? He said, yes, yes. And then I asked him what colors to do of Radharani's dress. And he told me red for Radharani's dress and blue dupatta. So, okay, I did finally get the painting done. And, you know, we had a darshan with Gurudeva one time, and he was laughing because it really made him laugh. And he's saying how, you know, if he'd asking of all the gopis in the background what they were thinking. So luckily when I was painting them, I was thinking, oh my God, she's scared. So, you know, I have to put this sort of face on. And then this one thinks it's funny, so she's got a funny face. And so I didn't just plonk them there just to put them there. So so I was able to tell him. And he said, looked at me and says, to know what funny it is, you have to be funny, and that means you're funny. So, so I'll show you the picture of that.
Yeah, so he's asking, what is this gopi thinking? What is this gopi thinking? Yeah. And then how is this one thinks it's funny.
This is probably back to front because our camera is showing it's a mirror.
Painted that?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Would I really love this one?
Wow.
You really like it.
Yeah, so continuing from this page, because this is another painting.
Can I see more? I want to see it more. It's so beautiful. Wow.
This is actually on that video. Well, while you're saying that, all over the years, I've been frantic about what's going to happen. I'm always meditating on the Ujjvala and Nilamani. How's it going to happen? What am I going to be painting? You know, and so scared that I was going to miss out. That you know, I was quite. Oh, they're starting to do the Ujjvala and Nilamani. Oh my God, I'm going to miss out. I really want to be able to, you know, reproduce what Gurudev's desire was, and I didn't know how it was going to happen. And then only just last year, Manjari Didi, she contacted me. And she said that Shamarani Didi had told her to contact me because I'd already painted a painting of Radharani stealing Krishna's flute. And this is, Haribol Manjari. And then and so she told me that this pastime is actually in the Ujjvala Nilamani. And I cried because I felt that when Gurudev gives an instruction, it's not always visible of how it's going to happen. And it's sort of, he had already given that and he'd already implanted it in my heart. And it was already there that whole time in my house, this painting that was for the Ujjvala and Nilamani, and he had already produced it. And I just blew me away how Gurudev works on you. I mean, like any instruction he gives, that may not be necessarily be right for this moment, but I'm still quite blown away by it. That all those years freaking out about missing out, I'd already done the painting, but I really want to do more for it. Wow. So this was really special, and it only manifested last year. So it really amazed me how Guru works. But the other painting that I did, which has so much depth in it and so much relationship with Gurudev, is Radha and Lalita, because Shamarani gave me a line drawing to choose from for the Gita Govinda. Yeah. And so I chose Radha and the Gopi, and so I started on that. I didn't know what I was doing because I just new to painting. And anyway, at one stage I wanted to know, that's right, in the Wollongbar I got to the stage where I didn't know how to do anything more, and I was going to give it to Shamarani to finish, which was sort of the known thing you're going to do. And so I was already surrendered, just giving it up to Shamarani. And we went and had a darshan with Gurudev. And Shamarani said, I showed it to him, and he said, oh yes, just make the the gopi more beautiful. And Shamarani said, oh, should I finish it, meaning her, or should Haripriya finish it? And he looked deep into my eyes and he said, no, she can finish it. She will make it very beautiful. Straight away, even though I had no idea how to finish it, I knew that it would because Gurudev said so. And it did. He was really happy with it. And then I was working on the gopi and I didn't know who she was. So I asked him, I was showing it to him in Sydney and I held it up like, underneath my chin and I was saying, Gurudev, who's the gopi so I can know who to meditate on. And he looked at it and he said, oh, I cannot tell you at the moment because Radharani is not speaking to me. Gurudev speaks to Radharani, so pretty amazing. And so, okay, you'll have to ask me another time. So I wrote to him later on. I said, is Radharani speaking to you yet? And cheeky me. And he said, oh, you'll have to bring it to court.
That is cheeky.
Yeah, I'm cheeky. I was cheeky. He was like a father, and I just, felt like a little kid with him. So, but also was a bit reserved, but I wanted the mercy. So.
Good, I like that sort of spontaneous relationships.
Yeah. So, so I took it to Puri, and he straight away said this is Lalita. And the most amazing thing was when I was painting her, I was so inclined to make her dress a lilac purpley color and some blue. And her face, I kept wanting to make her face more golden. And when I found out that she was Lalita, and I looked up in the songbook with her Astakam, and it described her color of her clothes, which is the colors of a peacock, and she had a golden complexion. So he was already working through me because anytime I painted, I tried to do it myself, nothing happened. But when Gurudev was working through me, I couldn't stop, and I even forgot to eat. So, I just had to go with the flow when it was going like that because, Gurudev's painting. So
you didn't tell us whether she was still speaking to him.
Well, he obviously did.
Otherwise I'm on tender thinking, she stopped speaking.
Oh, sorry. So when it was finished and we were having speaking to Gurudev at Govardhan, and I had it for the first time. I mean, this painting went back and forward to India so many times. And we were asking, what should we do with this painting? And he said, you should put it in the temple. So, and then he said to you?
Then he put his hand on my heart and he said, you should keep this in your heart.
He was lucky. He got Gurudev's hand on his heart. This is the one. And it's back to front too. It's actually the other way around. Oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry. That's
like technical hitch.
Yeah, it's called
Okay.
Human's Error. Yeah, so this is the other one. It's back to front. Like I said, it's the mirror on camera. So yeah, and so this has got such a special. Anyone who gets a poster of it, they always pick this one, and I know why, because it's Gurudev's. It's his power there. So, but
that's beautiful.
I mean, there's so much we could talk about Gurudev, but we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah,
we've still got only 5 minutes. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I told you to do it, right?
Hey, Haripriya, I feel listening to you and then seeing Manjari on the line, I feel like spontaneously we need to have an artist Zoom program where somehow we just feature all the art and all we're talking about is art. It would just be really good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they're cool.
Have you and Shamrani, Manjari, Didi? I mean, there's so many beautiful artists in our Sangha, and then all those stories, and it'd be an amazing program, actually.
Because we're very fortunate, for Manjari and Shamarani and about 18 other devotees, Prabhus and Didis, we were all working for over 6 or 7 weeks on the bas reliefs in Govardhan. And that was magical, absolute magic. It's an experience I cannot repeat. It's hard to repeat. So, there's just one thing, can I say?
Yeah, sure.
one of the things that, unless there's more something you can...
No.
One thing that I really thank Gurudev for, mostly, not for myself, but he gave a lot of mercy to my brother who had cancer.
I can say something about that if we've got time.
Yeah.
Just one thing, when we had a Govardhan, I'll just speak quickly so I'm not taking time. We were on morning walk with Gurudev, and Gurudev was speaking sometimes in English and sometimes in Hindi, but he was real adamant that someone translate the Hindi into English for us so we'd understand everything that he was saying. And so fortunately, Jagannath Prabhu from Fiji was translating for me anything that Gurudev would say in Hindi. So Gurudev was telling this story about his godbrother, and I can't recall his name, who was Srila Bhakti-Tv Goswami Maharaja's personal servant, who then became ill with tuberculosis and was in hospital down in South India and had passed away. And Gurudev was saying that how after Gurudev was down there with some other devotees, and they were helping him at that time of need of, getting him ready to pass. They were doing so much service for him. And on the way back, they were in a train, and the train was traveling back up, and the train had an accident. And Gurudev said all of the carriages in front of the train and all the carriages behind their carriage all came off the line. And he said there were 500 people killed. There were people in trees. There were dead bodies everywhere. Wow. And he said, but their carriage was the only carriage that stayed on the track. And he said in their carriage, one devotee got a small scratch on his hand, and that was it. That was the only problem that they'd had. And he said, this is because of the potency of doing that bhajan for that devotee who was going to leave his body. And he was saying like this is, and I was thinking, this is such a beautiful story. And then just about a month or so after that, we had to travel back to Australia and to New Zealand because Priya's brother was diagnosed, had been diagnosed with cancer, and it was terminal cancer. So we had to come back, and Priya especially had to look after him and care for him like this. So those words of Gurudev's were a great solace for us, because he was emphasizing the potency of helping someone in that transitional period of leaving their body, that Krishna gives so much mercy. Krishna is so happy, so pleased with the devotee when he does service for another devotee at that crucial time. So it was very enheartening for us to have that Gurudev's mercy like that.
Yeah, my brother knew that the only way he could get some help was through Gurudev, because he knew, and there was no one else who could help him. And he wrote letters to Gurudev as well. And he got to meet Gurudev in January 2008 and experienced quite amazing things with Gurudev. In fact, there's a darshan that's on YouTube that's quite famous, really, that he is speaking to my brother in the darshan about death and, not to worry and stuff, because you see the picture of my brother in the video, and he's actually talking to him specially. And when we got back to Christchurch, my brother just watched that video over and over again, that part where Gurudev's giving them instructions, and he must have watched it about 15 times, one after the other. Yeah. And one letter that he wrote, he was very scared about being in pain at the time of death. And Gurudev immediately wrote back and said, just forget everything and just think of Swamiji and myself, and we will be there for you. And then when he did leave his body, he physically wasn't unable to do anything, but because I felt Gurudev and Prabhupada was there, because he was able to chant Hare Krishna 5 times and with so much depth. It was really like they were moving his jaw to do it. Yeah. And Gurudev that was the mercy of Gurudev. He also gave my brother Gopal mantra via Zoom or something like that. So my brother was very indebted to my Gurudev, and he had a picture next to his bed so that he could touch his feet every day. So I really so much indebted to Gurudev for giving him so much mercy, and he'd only met him once. And we're, what to speak of, those who are fortunate to have a lot of time with Gurudev. but still he gives out that mercy just a moment. I mean, just at a glance. So, well, glories to Srila Gurudev.
Wow.
Oh, just one last thing I'd like to say. We're in Sydney one time and staying with Gurudev in Raghunath Prabhu's house in Sydney. And we're waiting for Gurudev to come down to give us a class in the morning. There's probably only about 10 or 12 devotees there. And Gurudev came down and he asked Jagannath Prabhu from Fiji to speak. And we were saying, oh, Gurudev, we were hoping to hear you speak. And Gurudev said, oh, he said, I have left so many jewels all around the world for you. I have left so many jewels all around the world for you. So I'm thinking, Prabhu, that you're one of those jewels, and that this you have given this such beautiful facility for all these other beautiful jewels. For me, every devotee is a jewel, and you're giving so much facility so that we can take this beautiful association of all these jewel-like devotees and reap the benefit of Gurudev's association. So thank you very much.
No, I'm a businessman rascal who's stealing all the jewels and putting them in my basket. And luckily, I'm being cheated by Parampara in Seva, so I can share that basket with you. So somehow I'm getting purified in the process of my rascaldom. It all works nicely. But it's true, Gurudev has trained up so many people. And also, not only has he trained people directly who are just effulgent and sharing Harikatha, but you can see how there's transmission going through people who maybe were younger or didn't get as much direct association. It's transmitting beyond the first generation. It's amazing. Sorry, you were going to say something?
May I share just my latest art that I did for the centennial for Gurudev?
We can't see anything.
Oh, I haven't put it up, that's why. Oh, here I am. It's round the wrong way, so it looks like they're left hands. Oh, hold on, can you?
Oh, wow. Wow.
Taking
zoom it in. It's see, it's supposed to be on the other side. This is Srila Bhakti Maharaj.
That's a really important piece of artwork.
It is. It took a lot of working out, Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada, but it's not far back enough.
Did Gurudev give you that instruction? Did he describe it to you?
No, he didn't. But it's something I really felt quite deeply about doing for Srila Gurudev's centennial.
Wow. That's very powerful because it's also very reconciling between the sanghas.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It looks nicer on the paper.
Has anyone thought of doing a artwork like that for the meeting of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and A.C. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada? That would be amazing to have that on in the painting.
Manjari might know.
Yeah, there's several very beautiful paintings done of I think, I'm not sure if it's Parikshit Prabhu from BBT. I think they were done for the Rasamrita, I'm not sure, but beautiful, from Prabhupada's childhood, meeting Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and different.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you can find them online.
Beautiful. Vanamali and Harikatha.
Over time.
No, you've left me an absolutely impossible task of if I kind of fed back everything I wanted to feed back.
That's all right. You don't have
I'd
to.
probably take longer than you actually, because there was so much in what I loved it. It was kind of like I felt like I was in New Zealand by a fire, and I was kind of eating prasadam. I think it was carrot cake and whipped cream with a nice. With some nice, I don't know what the drink was, and we were just sharing stories while you were sharing stories with me. It was beautiful, and I'm just going to pick out a few things that really stood out to me. One was how much humor, and Gurudev said, he said every day he wants to laugh and cry every day, which is, I think, just sums up Gurudev beautifully. And by the way, they were both Prabhupada and Gurudev were born in the year of the monkey, Chinese year of the monkey, and monkeys are known for being pranksters and comedians. Yeah. So I know Gurudev used to love to tease his devotees. He was very good at teasing his devotees. I mean, even how he smiled at us sometimes, I felt teased just by the way he'd look at me. Like, I don't know, he just had so much humor in his face. And then what was amazing about Gurudev is he could transition from being humorous to being as grave as a high mountain in a second. You just never knew what was going to come next. It was amazing. And I thought you hit on really beautifully, this relationship between Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada is actually unfathomable, because, you know, we know that Srila Prabhupada came and he gave everything, but he gave everything and some things were wrapped. They were wrapped up. They were a little hidden, you know, and those more advanced devotees, they found their way, but Gurudev came to take the wrapper off, and the wrapper within the wrapper, and the wrapper within the wrapper within the wrapper, and reveal everything. So it wasn't that Prabhupada didn't give everything, he did, you can see it. So my experience of reading Prabhupada's books is that when you went Gurudev's books and you go back to Prabhupada's books, you relish Prabhupada's books by having gone to Gurudev's books, and vice versa. You relish Gurudev's books by relishing Prabhupada's books. They're kind of like, they're aesthetically and in Rasic terms, they're synergistic. They both kind of fire the heart up together. And it's, I find it a fascinating romance, actually, you know, going back 500 years, that we have all these incredible personalities coming from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who are in this timeless synchronicity, like some incredible orchestra of flute players, all playing this transcendental music based on time and circumstance, all completely in rhythm with the situation, timing that they appeared, but also in rhythm with each other. And it's up to us. That's why Gurudev said, reconcile, reconcile, reconcile. Even though apparently there seemed to be some difference in emphasis, there's no difference, but there's difference in expression based on time and circumstance and how ready the devotees were for receiving certain quality of information. And I thought you brought that out really beautifully when you mentioned Srila Prabhupada. And also, I loved what you said, and I wanted to kind of paraphrase it, because he did the same with me. This idea of, I remember being with Gurudev very early on in my relationship with him in '96, when I would give him some dakshin, and I kind of like, there was part of me that just wanted it to be, okay, I'll give you some dakshin and you sort of leave me alone a little bit, you know, don't take all of me, right? But there was just, I thought the money was a way of kind of like showing I was kind of interested, but not too interested, you know, like holding back. But Gurudev just would crash through that, and he took out a heart, I don't know, some heart from some toy shop, and he would represent the heart as mine, and then he'd put it in his pocket and say, I'm going to give this to Radharani, just like he did with you. And I was like, I'm a goner. I know I'm a goner. I just like, you know, you can't put any resistance up to Gurudev. Even if you didn't really want to surrender, you were going to surrender. You know, it was like, it's just, I just knew that he had these powers of transcendental seduction that were beyond my conception. So I really resonated with what you said. And I loved what you said about how he was grateful for us coming to him. Like he would make me feel, I remember once I was in Brighton, I was playing volleyball, and I got a call from him, and he was asking me to do something. First, I didn't know who it was. It sounded like a 9-year-old boy. And I was like, who's this? And then I realized it was Gurudev. And he was asking me to do something. I was appreciating how he's my guru. He can see 10,000 lifetimes back. He's completely omniscient. And yet somehow he's making me feel like I can take care of him. How does that work? It's just extraordinary, you know. He's extraordinary, and he still does that. He still does that because, of course, he's closer to the air. He's closer to us than the air that we breathe. So, you know, you're talking about all these Vapu stories, but they're actually all Leela that are still existing in your heart and our hearts now. He's ever present. If I may be so bold, because you're cheeky, so I'm going to be a bit cheeky. Nanda Astakam, could you sing a verse of it before we move on?
What?
Nanda
What was that?
Astakam.
Sorry, missed that bit.
Nanda Astakam.
What about it?
Yeah. Can you sing one verse?
Oh.
You're pretending not to hear me, right?
I don't know it off by heart. I don't.
Just the first verse.
Where is it? Do you know what page it is?
Well, I have a different songbook too. It's Suchara Vaktra Mandalam.
Can't. Suchara.
Yeah, if you look up that, the first three.
Could you see it? Sucharavastrananda 289. No, right. Sucharavastranandalam Sukadaratnakundalam Sucharatanga Chandanam Namami Nandanandanam Namami Nandanandanam Namami Nandanandanam Namami Nandanandanam Namami Nandanandanam.
Thank you. So nice, so beautiful. I remember how when we were in Mathura, that Askam would be sung, and he would always make his entry on that verse. It was very beautiful. Okay, well, that was totally delightful and beautiful. Thank you, and we'll be seeing you on the in the festival, Hari Priya. I think you're singing a couple of times, right? Vanamali, thank you so much, Prabhu. It's beautiful. I can't wait to have my carrot cake one day over in New Zealand. Hey, and what do you think of the art program? Should we talk about it? Yeah.
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 Definitely.